Hello YouTube! As you can tell from my wonderful Christmas hat, that today marks the first day of my 12 days of Christmas reviews. I'm going to be doing a Christmas movie once a day throughout December up until Christmas Day. Obviously not on Christmas Day, I'll be opening my presents and drinking a lot of wine, but you'll be getting 12 Christmas movies throughout the course of this month. And today we are going to start with... I can start it. Santa Claus the movie! I don't own it, as you can tell, otherwise I'd have the box, but I've seen this. Oh my god, I think I've seen this a million times. I love this movie, and when I told a lot of my friends about my upcoming 12 Days of Christmas reviews, the first thing they said to me was do Santa Claus the movie, so I'm starting off with that. Okay, now, if you haven't seen this movie, where have you been? Seriously, it's Christmas. Should be watching it right now. This movie came out in 1985, and to be honest, I think it's probably one of the better Christmas Santa Claus based movies. I mean, I'm going to be doing some of the other ones as well that are well known. You can probably guess half of the ones I'm going to do, but this one's plot basically revolves around Santa and him getting his job role right, you know. And it really works. It's a very, very good film. I mean, John Lithgow's in it. I've seen him in a bunch of other movies. And obviously Dudley Moore's in it as Patch the Elf, and we all love Dudley Moore. David Huddleston plays Santa Claus in this, and the film opens with him and his wife Anya, played by Judy Cornwell, as mere peasants, somewhere in the 16th century, I think. And they're mere peasants, and they're driving through the snow, with their reindeer, and they get to a point where they could possibly freeze to death until, lo and behold, the North Pole appears in front of them, and all the elves take them into their homestead, and basically the elder elf gives him the role of Santa Claus because he gives presents to children anyway. He's just a very good guy, so they give him the role of immortality, and every Christmas Eve he will go around and he will give everyone presents. That's how Santa Claus becomes Santa Claus. And it's kind of it's a really good kind of tale the way it's told, because most Santa movies or even Christmas movies already start with Santa being Santa. You get to watch him become Santa and go through all the trials and tribulations and worries and whatnot of actually doing his job. Yeah, so after we've seen Santa Claus become Santa Claus, the film focuses on two young children, a young rich girl and a homeless boy, and their names are Cornelia and Joe, if I remember rightly. Now, they kind of meet in circumstances. I think she gives him some food every now and again, and they both have their own problems. Obviously, he's homeless, and her uncle, step-uncle, is John Lithgow, who is the head and owner of a toy company, and he's just been reprimanded for selling shoddy goods. I think there's a scene where they pull off a panda bear's head, and a load of glass and nails come out, and I thought that was a little bit extreme. I was like, okay, we get it, his toys are shit, we understand. It was literally just full of sand and toys and like, not toys, like glass and nails and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, okay, that's a little bit extreme. But so basically he is at his wit's end, his company's going to go under. Now back to the North Pole, we have Dudley Moore as Patch the Elf, and he loves Santa. He wants to make him very proud, he wants to do his best, and he goes up against another elf called Puffy. And it's so stupid that Patch and Puffy go up against each other to see who can come up with the best toy or best invention relating to making their toys. Now Patch comes up with this machine that actually creates the toys without the elves having to do anything anymore. It's like a conveyor belt. Problem is the machine goes wrong, and all the kids who've gotten these toys sort of send them back in a way. It's not really clear how that happens. I think just sort of throwing your toy away means it gets sent back to Santa. It's just silly little things like little wooden horses and little carts and things like that. And because of this, he gets demoted as head elf. And reeling from this, he goes off and leaves the North Pole and enters, I think it's in New York City. I'm not sure, it's somewhere like that. I'm pretty sure it's New York City. He ends up leaving, going off to New York City, and he comes across John Lithgow's toys in a store and sees them flying off the shelf. But what he doesn't realise is they're being recalled because they're shit. But he thinks that he must be like the best toy maker ever because everyone's buying his toys. So he ends up meeting up with him, and proposing a deal that he will work with him and make toys for him instead. Now, one of the kind of best supernatural elements of this of all time is the fact that the reindeer can fly by eating this like sparkling glittery feed. How many of you wanted to eat that when you were a kid? Because I did. I so wanted to eat that stuff. And obviously Patch has brought this with him, and he uses it on his he makes a lollipop, and he uses it in the lollipop, and the lollipop then can make people float. Like, kids love it because they can start flying and stuff like that. Oh my god, I wanted to do that so badly. I really want when I was really little, I do remember watching it thinking that I didn't quite understand that it was all fake, and I thought that somewhere in America that lollipop existed. I really wanted to get one. Oh yeah, there's a little side note in here, just because I found this out as I was researching. Did any of you know that there was a movie made in 1964 called Santa Claus Conquers the Martians? Because I didn't, and that's such a random thing. And then basically Martians take Santa Claus to Mars because there's no Santa Claus to give kids like presents. So random. I'm going to watch that. I may even review that. Anyway, back to the plot of our 1985 Santa Claus the movie. Yeah, so we're at the point now where Santa Claus is heartbroken because Patch has left the North Pole. During Christmas Eve one year, Santa Claus actually sort of ends up talking to Joe and Cornelia, and they're sort of aware. You know, he kind of watches them throughout the. I think it spans over maybe a couple of years, the movie, because obviously it's only at Christmas that this, you know, he can interact with them. And he kind of watches them and their relationship grow, where they kind of like it. They're about, I think they're probably about 12, something like that. So it's all innocent, you know, like, no, she's a girl and he's a boy and he's kind of cute and stuff like that. But yeah, Patch basically makes this lollipop, and it all goes well. John Lithgow's character's making a lot of money and whatnot, but then obviously Santa Claus hears about this, and they all they realise they need to go and get him back, you know, because obviously he doesn't belong out there. They didn't know what happened to him. And then it comes to around Christmas, and he ends up putting the feed, the stuff that makes people fly, into a bunch of candy canes. What he doesn't realise is when these candy canes get heated up, they explode. And so I guess the kind of, for any of you that haven't seen this, you might want to skip to the end. Maybe not listen for the next minute or so, because obviously this is a massive spoiler alert for the end of the movie, and I don't normally do this. But yeah, the kind of climax is that he has a lot of these candy canes on this little sort of sleigh / flying car that he's created, instead of having like a reindeer driven sleigh. And there's a possibility that the kids could get blown up. Now, the movie's a really good movie. I mean, the plot is good. It's a substantial plot. You know, we see a journey, and we see exciting things happen, and we see flying, and we see magic and a journey. There you go. I mean, Wizard of Oz had that. That's probably why it's so famous. There is actually this thing in the movie, if I've written it down right. Yeah, there's this move. I thought this was great. There's this move that Santa keeps trying to do every year with his reindeer, called the Super Duper Looper, which is where he tries to get the reindeer to go up like that and then around. And there's a point in the movie where that sort of happens, and it's epic. It's such a great scene in the whole movie. I mean, movie in the 80s, you know, especially in the mid-80s, they all tended to kind of start going down this road where they did special effects like that, you know. But it really works. It really does. I'm just going to see if there's anything else that I've written down. I don't think there's anything else I can really say about this movie now, because I've kind of done the plot and I've told you who's in it. But yeah, so I'm going to end this right here and wait for my second 12 Days of Christmas review coming up tomorrow, probably.